Hey everyone, this is Chirag Joshi. Welcome to episode 9 of the CJ Show, a show where I combine, or at least try to combine, creativity with sustainability or sustainable mobility for now, and try to see how we can engage people, how we can inspire the creative community to create more art around this space and get more and more people involved in the conversation. So, yeah, this is episode 9. I hope you liked the last episode, which was a creators edition, very fruitful. I had an amazing conversation with the guest on the show. So I hope you enjoyed that. And let's get into this show. Okay, this one. Any specific reason for picking this up today?
Nope.
Okay. So, as you can see in this post, and you can figure out, the guy in the center is Lewis Hamilton. You know, the greatest of the greats of the F1 world, and around him, you know, you see two shades of him. On the black side, you have F1, and you have his private jets, his his trophies, and his number one positions and podium finishes. And on the other side, you have, on the white side, you have Formula E, and then you have PETA's logo, you have Instagram's logo, and then you also have a private jet's logo, and that has a stamp saying sold. So what's this all about? So I came across an article where one of the contemporaries in Formula E had spoken about Lewis Hamilton potentially joining the Formula E as a natural extension of who he really is. So honestly, I didn't know too much about Lewis Hamilton, okay? So I was like, okay, who is Lewis Hamilton really? Like, who is this guy? Like, what is he all about? And turns out he, as much as he's in this gas guzzling and just adrenaline rushing F1 race, he, at a human level, he's a guy who's very concerned about the environment, about animal cruelty, about all of these issues actively, not like, oh, I support like a celebrity. No, if you check out his Instagram, it's filled, like a good amount of posts are filled with animal cruelty and him voicing against it, him literally pleading about how I can be of help to stop this in the world. And that I found very shocking about his personality, because when you see all these guys in the riches with private jets and all of that, you don't really perceive them to be so woke or environmentally conscious. But turns out Lewis Hamilton is such a person. And what this other person had to say to him, that because he's such a woke guy and he faces, even though he's such a amazing person in his personal life, his professional life projects him in a certain way of not caring about the environment and all that stuff. So this particular person says that for Lewis Hamilton to join Formula E would be a natural extension of his personal self, which I was like, of course, right? Because like a lot of things that people know about him are just on a professional front. On the personal front, he's an active supporter of PETA, and his Instagram is filled with a lot of stuff that he encourages people, and he sort of creates awareness around a lot of the cruelty that goes around. And also, and a fun fact about his private jet, he bought it. A lot of people know about that, but a lot of people don't know that he sold it as well, right? So he's a very woke kind of guy, and since that day I found him to be really endearing and kind of related to him, right? So that's what we wanted to represent through this post, two sides of this guy, the black and the white. The reason the black is F1 and the white is Formula E is pretty much self-explanatory. But yeah, these are the things that I wanted to represent through this. Went through a lot to get this post right with my man Puranj, a lot of back and forth about how we can sort of project this. But I hope it came out to be good. Is it good? Like, gives up the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. Hope it made sense. We just did this in the last.
Are you sure?
Yes. You haven't been watching. It aches my heart.
Wait, the previous
Yes.
one? Damn. Okay.
Yes.
What?
This was the second one.
Bro.
Go down. Just so many.
Okay, give me a minute.
Just Pretend has not been keeping up with my videos, just like most of you. Harsh reality, have to accept it. Can't help it.
Okay, so maybe, just maybe, I don't know this. No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. This okay. So in this post, what we what I wanted to represent was, so NASA for the first time unveiled their first electric airplane.
What?
Yeah, their first electric. So they're big into the aerospace industry. Right? They just don't build rockets. They also have a fair bit of influence on the aerospace market, right? And they built this sort of electric airplane called X-57 Maxwell. Okay, it's a part of their X-57 streak, and this is the first electric one that they've developed. So yeah, this was what it's still a year since we can see it flying. So maybe sometime next year, around October, November, can we see it really taking flight? But for now, they wanted to unveil it to people, and how I wanted to represent this was, because so what I did was, as you can sort of see in the post, is that there's this NASA logo. So when you see NASA logos, you think of rockets. So in the background, we have the crazy thrusters of a rocket. And as the animation moves forward, you see this plane coming up. And as you see the plane coming up, the voice or the noise of the thrusters of the rocket decline to a great extent, right? And they become silent eventually. So that's the idea, that this is a silent version that NASA's taken out. And they do it in a very good spirit, at least what I've read from it, is that a body like NASA that leads the way in space technology and aerospace technology wanted to explore these ideas of electric aviation first and build that technology, and then allow it and then commercialize it to other private companies who don't really have the money to go forward and innovate in terms of building electric airplanes. So they're in a way leading the industry, taking those hits, doing those R&Ds and doing those testing and failing themselves, so that the industry benefits from it. So I found that a really sort of selfless act in a way, and which is great to see. I hope their efforts do impact the aerospace industry, and we see a lot of electric airplanes flying around, which would be great. So yeah, that was what the post was all about. I particularly like this post because it came out exactly how I wanted to. Yeah, that's what it is. So we are done with the two posts. Want to skip the question segment and voice out a particular thing that's been happening. Today is December 3rd. December 3rd, right? Yeah. This is December 3rd, Tuesday. I wanna talk a little bit about what happened in the last week in Hyderabad. Okay, so if you're watching this, you already know about it. A terrible incident of a horrible incident against a woman in Hyderabad happened, and I'm sure you're aware of the details and all of that. And of course, I mean, it's not that this is something new for the country. It's not that it's a special case. It's been happening. It happens every day. It's saddening to know the fact that it's happening right when I'm doing this video with you, all across our country. And the even sadder fact is that we don't have mechanisms to stop it. We might have the legal system in place, but we don't have the mechanism to stop it or to curb it. I'm not talking about the legal or the political stuff. I'm talking about as a society, or even as companies. We don't do enough to make sure that the people roaming around with the sheer confidence that they can do whatever they want and get away with it, we aren't doing much to intimidate them. And this incident again shook me a lot, and it occurred to me that a lot of this stuff happens in either cabs or buses or trucks, or transportation has a significant role to play in the occurrence of such activities. And I thought, man, if and now with the advancement and as we're talking, like autonomous driving and a lot of technological progress in this field, I think we should first start looking at these basic things of making people, or at least half of the world, which is women, to make them feel safe at least while commuting. Okay, because that's the area where companies or organization can have control over, right? So I thought there definitely needs to be some mechanism, or there definitely should be efforts made to do something more here, and for there's a lot more that can be done in this space. So I sort of sat down, made like a very vague I you can't call it business model, but like a vague idea of what kind of measures can be taken by companies to combat this. I wrote it down on a page, and then I started tweeting or commenting on every post of every leader of a mobility company, and told them, hey, you know what, a lot of stuff can be done, please do consider doing this. And I actually got on a call with this particular lady who runs a client servicing corporate cab service, and I spoke to her regarding it, and she already does a lot of stuff in this direction, but I suggested her what I was thinking. Of course it wasn't fully made, but I realized that at my level, of course, I can't go ahead and build something like this as of now. I don't really have the resources. So the best I can do is probably think of something, suggest it to people who are in the position who can implement it, and then maybe just help out in that way. So I've been on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, voicing out these things. I put up a post actually about it, about telling people that what, we need to do this first before we do anything else, and it can be done. These are very practical steps that can be taken. It's not crazy stuff, and I just trying to understand what stops people from actually going ahead and doing it, because I don't know what stops them from doing it, but maybe a little more sort of active thought into it would. I don't think it can't be done. I don't think so. And it's not even like on an ideological scale where it's like, oh no, if we have the grid or if we have it in our hearts, we can. No. If we just put a little more of our thought, like instead of putting 1% to it, if we put like 5-10% of our thoughts in making sure that women feel safe in commuting in cities, then I think a lot can happen. I mean, come on, we're going to Mars and we can't keep our women safe? Bullshit. Okay, I don't believe in that. Okay, if we can put so much of our mind and thought about living on an exoplanet, on some other planet, then we can definitely make sure that every single woman in our country can feel safe, have that basic level of feeling safe while traveling. I particularly don't relate to how crazy it is out there for women, and every woman that has this, say, is probably 25% more scared to just live than boys or guys.
So true.
Right? I mean, like, even if it's like 5%, that's worse. Just living, just existing in this world makes them live in fear. That's all. I can't relate to that fact at all. Like, zero. I don't know how that feels like, So the least we can do, and this appeal to the guys who are doing stuff, who are doing great stuff in the tech community, who are doing great stuff, doing whatever they want. I mean, let's face it, of course we guys have it easier to be in certain positions of power and without having a lot of judgment, a lot of fear to be there. So let's take up those stands. If you really call yourself that good, or if you really call yourself that woke, let's take that stance and let's take it on ourselves to do it, and not wait for a crazy heroic woman to do it for other women. Why? Why would you want that, right? So yeah, this is just something that I thought it's possible on a practical scale, and I just want to voice it out right now that once I have something going for myself, I'm pretty sure I am going to implement something in this direction, and I hope that I don't have to do it by the time I come to this position where I'm in a position to take up initiatives or do something on a practical scale that makes women feel safer in at least commuting in and around cities. But if it doesn't happen, I bet you and I can even promise you that I will do something in this direction. There's no question about that. I have plans already, but of course I can't implement them. So when I have a structure in place, when I have a business in place, when I have something in place that I can do, you can bet your ass I can do it, and I will do it. So yeah, this is something that I just wanted to voice, not from a place of ideologically of how a society should be, but from really ground realities, practicalities of on how on a day-to-day basis we can make a difference. And me being from this industry, I think a lot can be done. So yeah, that's the episode 9. I know I'm getting serious as the episodes go, but can't help it, guys. A lot of things depend on this particular industry, and there's a lot of control that resides in the hands of people running mobility companies. So it's imperative that we take these actions and are really driven differently. It's not just on a tech. When I think of the or the revolution in the automotive industry or in the mobility industry, I think of it from every aspect, not just the way from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles. No, I think of the whole picture, everything. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you think this message needs to be reached out to someone, or if you think you can create some piece of art from it, I'd love for you to do that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Have a good day.